Hello, and welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast. I'm Victoria Gallagher, your host, and I'm here to inspire you to tap into the incredible power of your mind by helping you to understand the law of attraction, manifestation, hypnosis, affirmations, meditation, and other powerful tools, all designed to rewire your mindset and to propel you toward success. Each and every week, we talk about proven strategies and approaches to empower you to manifest your dreams and achieve your highest potential. So, tune in each week to get inspired and to discover how to unlock the power of your mind. You are listening to episode number 306, How to Overcome Limiting Beliefs. So before we dive in, just a quick reminder to make sure that you subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast on your favorite platform. Do that right now so that you never, ever, ever miss an episode. Each episode is just another great opportunity for you to get inspired and to transform your life. And if you are getting value out of listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast, which I know that you are, otherwise you wouldn't be here listening, then I would really appreciate a little support here. What you can do to support me and our podcast is to simply leave us a review and share the podcast with someone that you believe could use a little inspiration. Or you could also simply download and subscribe to my Believe Hypnosis app. That is another great way to support the material that I share with you for free every single week. It's amazing information that you're getting. This is kind of like information that I would be sharing if you were attending one of my paid seminars. This is just to spread the good word out to you about hypnosis and the power of your subconscious mind and meditation and affirmations. And I always, always make it a point to make sure that I give you some great how to information, how to actually apply these things to your life. I don't just like to talk about sharing a story and then leaving you with no tips on how to actually apply this information. And so your support means the world to me. And so I just want to thank you so much for being a part of our community. And speaking of community, I also encourage you to join our Facebook community, the Believe Hypnosis Facebook community group. It is facebook.com/groups/ believe hypnosis. Okay. And so join our group there. Let's talk about what we talk about here on the podcast. Let's continue this conversation. And so if you're new to this show and maybe this is the first time you've even heard of me or heard of the show. Well, let me just introduce myself. Once again, I'm Victoria Gallagher, and I'm a best-selling author of the book Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. And all the other books that you can see on my bookshelf through watching here on YouTube, Track Good Luck, Ultimate Weight Loss Power, My Cat's Secret to Manifesting, and How to Manifest Your Soulmate Using the Law of Attraction. And I also have a bunch more that I'm in the process of. I've got like titles and chapter outlines and everything. I'm now just in the process of writing a couple more really important books that are going to be definitely something you're going to want to add to your bookshelf. I've been a hypnotherapist for the past 25 years. I'm a digital and course creator. I have created well over 1,000 hypnotherapy recordings and many courses. One of my most recent courses, which I highly suggest you get your hands on, is the Manifest Abundance Process. So you can go there and check out that course at manifestabundanceprocess.com. If you're an affiliate, you want to become one of my affiliates, that would be great. But anyway, I'm also an international speaker, entrepreneur, specialize in helping people, especially business professionals, to use the power of their minds to manifest success through practical strategies, including the law of attraction. And I'm super passionate about personal growth, meditation, learning, and growing. Also, of course, I'm the creator of the hypnosis app, the newest hypnosis app called Believe Hypnosis, which is designed to help you to make powerful changes in your life using hypnotherapy and manifestation techniques. I am on a mission to help millions of people worldwide and by making hypnotherapy available and accessible to anyone. So be sure to check out the Believe Hypnosis app. Gives you access to over 1,000 hypnosis sessions, affirmations, and meditations, which are all designed to help you to achieve your dreams, your goals, and your desires. It's just like having a hypnotherapist who's always available to you right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download the Believe Hypnosis app today and start manifesting the life you deserve. All right, let's get into today's episode. Today, we're talking all about how to overcome limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs, how to overcome them. Have you ever found yourself unable to achieve something or unable to stop doing something that you shouldn't be doing, or just you're not able to achieve something that you should be able to do, but for some reason there just seems to be some kind of crazy invisible roadblock. Well, today we're going to dive into that. I'm going to give you the details as to why that happens, provide you with all the steps, the techniques, the strategies to help you overcome that. So let's just dive into like what is a limiting belief. I mean, it's really pretty simple. A limiting belief is any belief that is, and it could be conscious or more often than not, it's subconscious underneath your conscious awareness. And it is a belief that prevents you from from doing something that you want to do, in real plain layman terms. So if there's something that you want to be able to do, and it's possible for a person to do it. I mean, like, I don't mean like flying. I don't mean anything like, that normal human beings can't do. But like if you have seen somebody else to, be able to start a business, and you haven't been able to start yours, or they've been able to lose weight, and you haven't been able to lose yours, or they've been able to quit smoking, or they've been able to find love. And for whatever reason, you just keep hitting the same roadblocks over time. That means that there's some limit, there's some kind of, and probably some unconscious limiting belief that is sabotaging you and getting in your way. And that's the good news because, rather than walking around thinking like, oh, well, it's just impossible or I can't, I'm just never going to, this isn't going to happen. Well, that right there, those words that it's not possible or that it's never going to happen, those are limiting beliefs. And that's probably one of the easiest ways for you to get in touch with finding out if whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you haven't been able to accomplish yet. Just ask yourself, why have I not been able to accomplish that? And you're probably going to come up with a lot of excuses or reasons or justifications. And usually those are limiting beliefs because not everything that you think is actually true, and you shouldn't believe everything that you hear yourself say because so many things that you hear yourself say are really myths. They're really made up stories and they're based on something that you decided a long time ago was true. And not necessarily is every belief. As a matter of fact, most of the things that we believe are true are not actually true. For the most part, almost nothing is actually true. It's really just your experience of something. Oh, okay. I don't know why, but sometimes my camera doesn't work. So this is what I invite you to do. That's the very first step is we have to, step number one is we have to identify the limiting beliefs. And so you want to reflect on your thoughts and your feelings. You want to notice whenever it is that you're getting stuck on something, write down what it is. Like just write down, I've been unable to achieve success in this area, or I've been unable to quit doing this, or I've been unable to, and fill in the blanks. Okay. Just like, let's just write down what it is that that where you're stuck. And then you want to write down what are the thoughts associated with your lack of ability to be able to do that. And as you write those thoughts down, like just, put on some background music, get into a comfortable position, maybe close your eyes for a little bit and meditate on it and really look. If you really want to bust through this, then it does require a little bit of self analysis and looking at the patterns in your thoughts that, suggest that you might have some kind of a limiting belief. And a lot of times the limiting belief will sound like it'll include words like I always whatever, like I always fail. I always forget. Do you ever find yourself saying, "Oh, I always do this," or I can never seem to da da da." So whatever it is, it's usually like some kind of a generalization where it's like a always or a never or, something along that line. Okay. And so then once you've gotten these written down, you probably end up with, if you're really honest, you really take your time with it, probably end up with about 10 or so. And you could probably even come up with more, but you could come up with probably 10 different, thoughts all about this thing that you've been unable to do. And then, of course, you want to really kind of confirm that these are indeed limiting beliefs by seeing how they, contradict what you've been able, what other people have been able to do. I mean, for the bottom, the bottom line is if somebody else has accomplished something that you've not been able to accomplish, why is that? Is it, most things that, these great people have accomplished, they don't necessarily come from that they have something that they were born with something that you yourself couldn't um, create, and most of the time, the single biggest difference between somebody being able to do something and someone else not being able to do that is belief. It really just comes down to belief. And so, one of the things that I would encourage you to do in order to really get honest with yourself, in order to give yourself a true self assessment, is to listen to one of my guided sessions on the Believe Hypnosis app, which is called Master Self Reflection. I have a lot of different ones. I have also one on self awareness that you could also use that's going to help you to further uncover and clarify your limiting beliefs. I also have one in there called Overcome Limiting Beliefs. That may not, there's a couple of them in there that are specifically on limiting beliefs, but I'm also encouraging you, not just to, go through that, but to understand the process yourself of um, identifying your limiting beliefs and then taking it from there. So let's talk a little bit. That's step number one. Step number one is really about um, identifying what those beliefs are. The next step is to understand where did they come from. And so you want to like really trace back your experiences and think about what past experiences you've had that might be contributing to these limiting beliefs. Consider all the influences that you've had in your life from your parents to teachers in school to clergy to spouses that you've had. I mean, there's just probably been, maybe coworkers or employers. I mean, I had an employer tell me that when I before he was even a hypnotist, when wanted to become a stockbroker. I mean, he told me that because I was a sales assistant at the time, he said, well, once a sales assistant, always a sales assistant. Okay. Now, at the time, I was in my mid 20s. I was probably I could have been a little incorrigible. And that could have become a limiting belief. I could have just said, oh, okay, well, then I guess I'll just stay a sales assistant since that's what you said. And so people of authority, doctors even, can tell you things that maybe they're not true. I'm not saying anything, about doctors. I'm just saying like people in authority, they have this like hypnotizing power where if they give you some information, a lot of times it just gets boom accepted without even any question. Sometimes the news will say something, and the news will give you a limiting belief because we have different views, and people news isn't really news anymore. It's more like commentary, and so it's everybody's opinion. And so you can learn things from just one conversation can change your whole life. So I want you to think about that conversation, that event. What was the event and what did you make up about it? Because usually it happens something like that. Whatever it was, or maybe it's a series of events that you've gone through. Maybe, so it could have been a family, could have been a friend, could have been, anything. And, just really understand these beliefs, and why maybe they took hold. Why did you decide to believe this? Not to beat yourself up in any way, but like, maybe you were just caught off guard and you decided, just you didn't even think about it. It just was like, something you accepted. And that's really what a limiting belief is. It is just something that you've accepted as true at one point without any kind of filter. And so many things just, we allow so many beliefs to come into our subconscious mind when our guard is down. And maybe when you're tired, or maybe when you're having a bad day, maybe when you're in a heightened emotional state, when you're basically in a state of hypnosis, which I just want to say most of the time. So when we go into hypnosis, we actually are really coming out of the hypnosis that we're normally walking around in at all times. Most of the time, our guard is down. Most of the time, and when it's interesting to mention this because, like, hypnosis isn't about being weak-willed or any of that. It's really just about letting your guard down, right? And letting your guard down so that new information can come in. But sometimes we let our guard down. And when I say the guard, I mean the critical thinking, the critical part of our brain that allows information to come in. So that's all that hypnosis is. It's just letting go of your critical thinking for a little while and allowing new information to come in. And that's what we do sometimes, though, to get these limiting beliefs, because a limiting belief is just, it's just a belief like any other belief. It's just one that you just keep telling yourself the same story over and over and thinking that it's true when it's not necessarily true. Nothing is really necessarily true. It's just something that you believe. And, there are very, very few facts in the world, you know. M- s- Almost everything is coming from you believing that that's true. So here's one of the other suggestions that I have as far as getting in touch with where did this belief come from? Where did you come up with this belief? Sometimes it can be so powerful for you to, and I'm not saying it's always necessary. It's not always necessary to do this, but sometimes just finding out that moment in time when you bought into something that was, a lie, and having that epiphany and realizing, oh my God, this really isn't true. And I've been believing this the whole time, and it's been holding me back from doing the things that I really want to do. And so if you listen to my hypnosis session in the Believe app, called Visit Your Past Self, you can listen to that and you can uncover the roots of your limiting belief. You can go back and in time and go back to that moment, the origin story of when you first got that idea. And then you can, change that belief right there on the spot and, have this whole epiphany and this whole revelation. So it's really, once you realize, this is a limiting belief, these are the limiting beliefs, this is where it came from, then it's much easier for you to challenge, which is number three. This is the third part, is challenging the limiting beliefs. Question their validity. So for each belief, you want to critically assess, is this really true? Is this really accurate? Or is this unconditionally true? Like, is this true for everyone? Is this true for me? Is this true for at all times? And so as you question, you like literally want to shine a spotlight on this belief and just ask it all kinds of questions. And the more questions, the more you question that belief. Just come up with as many possible questions as you can for this belief. Is this true? Why do I believe this? Is this true for everyone? Who else is this true for? And just make a list of many, many different ways to question this. This inquiry is going to weaken the belief. Just the inquiry in and of itself is going to, I mean, have you ever found yourself in an inquiry where somebody just kind of keeps challenging you and they keep questioning you and they just ask you the same kind of questions over and over? Haven't you noticed how when somebody does that to you, that you have a tendency to start questioning yourself and questioning that belief? That's exactly what we're doing here with your limiting belief. You want to put your limiting belief on the stand and question the heck out of it. Why? Because it's been in your way and it's been stopping you and preventing you from getting what it is that you want. So you want to question it. And once you've questioned it, then you want to actively look for evidence in your life or around you that disproves that limiting belief. So find some evidence. We're so busy always unknowingly, unconsciously looking for evidence to prove that what we believe is true. We're always doing that. We're always unknowingly finding evidence. And it's just that's the way the brain works. The brain is always trying to match the existing information. So we want to do the opposite of that. That the only way to really change a pattern, which that's all that really is a pattern. Only way we're going to really change that pattern is to do something different. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're just going to keep that old belief in place. So in order to change that belief and disrupt that belief, you've got to do something different. You've got to find new information that says, "Oh, wow, this really isn't true." So find somebody else that's accomplished the same goal as you. Find somebody else and look at them and notice how they have a completely different belief system. And then you can reframe that belief and turn that limiting belief into um, something that works more for you. And, just ask yourself, how can I overcome this challenge? How can I reframe this into something that, works more for me? And one of the other tips that I have is there's a hypnosis session in my app called Changing Negative Beliefs. And this is gold. This is going to help support you in this step to help you to change that negative belief into something that is more positive. So if you have been walking around with some kind of a belief saying that all the good ones are taken when it comes to your love life, or it's not possible for me to make over a certain amount of money, you need to just reframe that into like, how can I? Like literally when you can change anything that's like, I can't to how can I? And when you ask these kinds of questions, generally the subconscious mind is in such a pattern of completing and answering questions that you have out there that if you just put that question out there of how can I manifest that money? How can I manifest that love? How can I manifest like people that struggle with their weight? How can I manifest my ideal weight? Your subconscious mind will give you the answer if you look, if you're open, if you're receptive, if you're willing to let go of the ideas that have been limiting you up until now. And so then you want to, number four is you want to replace any of those negative beliefs, limiting beliefs. Negative, limiting, I mean, they're kind of synonymous, aren't they? If a belief is limiting you, then that's kind of negative. But here's the thing I also want you to understand. Your limiting belief may be an empowering belief for someone else. And your empowering belief may be a limiting belief for someone else. So it really isn't like a general like limiting belief. Like you have a very specific set of beliefs that are either empowering you or not. And it's all depending on your goals, your ambitions, your dreams, your desires. So if whatever you've got going on thought-wise, belief-wise in your mind, and it's not permitting you to have what it is that you want, that is a limiting belief. And I would also strongly suggest that that's a negative thing. Because it's negative for you, but it may not be negative for someone else. Now, to replace that belief, you want to come up with your own set of positive affirmations that are empowering and that directly counter your limiting beliefs. So that's one way is through positive affirmations. And the other way is through visualization. Visualize yourself succeeding. Regularly visualize yourself living out your new empowering beliefs. So get a picture in your mind of what it would be like for you to achieve your goals and overcome these obstacles. And then rehearse that over and over again and reinforce all of this the affirmations, the visualization. um, regularly. You got to do this regularly, every day. I would say, once in the morning, once in the evening to really solidify these new beliefs. And again, you can use the Believe hypnosis apps. That's why it's called Believe, because ultimately everything really comes down to this. This is in my book, Practical Law of Attraction. There are 8 manifesting conditions when it comes to the law of attraction. And believing is one of those manifesting conditions. But I always kind of side on like that's everything that we do in manifesting, everything that we do in law of attraction is ultimately designed like all the manifestation techniques out there. Like there's all these manifestation techniques. There's the 2 cup technique and there's the 5-5-5 technique and there's the writing your vision down. Well, what do you think that all these things are doing? All these manifestation techniques, no one of these manifestation techniques works better than the other. They're great, they're fun. It's great to have a variety of different ones to do, but they're all designed for one thing and one thing only, and that is to get you to believe. All right. So ultimately, like one one of the things I realized about my book, Practical Law of Attraction, was so like not to totally pat myself on the back too much, but it's fine. It's okay to do that. I don't know where we learned that that was not okay. But one of the things just so beautiful about it is like everything up to believe is all about working up to getting yourself to believe. And everything beyond that are the things that happen once you believe. And so it's like believing is really the turning point of manifestation because so it starts with desire, getting your thoughts into alignment, um, the visualization, the imagine using your imagination and then believing. Okay. So once you believe, your vibration will change. You will believe, if once you really believe, once you break through your limiting beliefs, your vibration will change. Once your vibration changes, then you're going to be getting more intuitive guidance. I call that from the creative attraction. That's the manifestation condition 6 is the creative attraction. All right. And then once you have received intuitive guidance from creative attraction, then that it's going to give you inspired actions to take. So you take your inspired actions. And once you take your inspired actions, guess what happens? The manifestation happens. And that's the 8th condition is the manifestation. And so what do you do with that manifestation is you celebrate and you feel grateful for it and you acknowledge it and all of that. All right. So I kind of gave you a little bit of the rundown of what's in my book, Practical Law of Attraction. If you have not read that book, I highly encourage you to get yourself a copy. This is like a classic book on law of attraction at this point in time. And the 2 things, that's what essentially these 2 things are going to change your life, the Believe app and the Practical Law of Attraction book. All my other books are great too. They all enhance everything, but like really that's like the Bible of law of attraction. So use the Believe app to really go through all the affirmations, all the visualization sessions on any goal that you're working on to reinforce your new empowering beliefs. The number 5 is to implement the strategies and the techniques. All right. So now, we really just want to practice being mindful, stay present and mindful so that you can catch the limiting beliefs as they arise in your daily life. So this is just another tool that we go through, like in my seminars. It is kind of a fun tool that we do where we talk about kind of catching yourself and how you're going to respond whenever you catch yourself. Because, just because you discovered the limiting belief doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to come back. You still have these thoughts rolling around in your brain and they will come back. So, what are you going to do? And you want to take a proactive approach. But how can you even take a proactive approach to switching that pattern if you're not even aware? So, you have to practice some mindfulness and stay present and stay aware to when you have these limiting beliefs come up. And you also want to set yourself some small, achievable goals. Take your big goal that you're working on and break that down into smaller, manageable steps so that you can gradually begin to build your confidence. See, that's one of the things, confidence is very synonymous in a lot of ways to believing. If you have the confidence, then you believe. If you believe, you have the confidence. They're both, relatively speaking, kind of along the same lines, and one supports the other. And when you try to take on like this huge goal, it just seems overwhelming and you kind of can get lost along the way. But if you can chunk it down into very small, manageable steps, and you can say, aha, I achieved this one level. I mean, like for me, for example, like, getting to 1 million subscribers with my Believe app, which is a 5-year goal of mine, is to get to 1 million subscribers. Well, if I just only aim for that goal, it's going to seem like, during the very first 100 or 1,000 or even 10,000 subscribers, that seems a little bit daunting. And you can look at where you're at and say, God, I have so much road ahead of me. But if you can break that down into small, achievable goals, then you have something to look forward to and you have something to feel really good about and something to celebrate and something, that you are gradually building your confidence about every single time you set a goal and achieve it. And also, not to also mention that it's a good idea whenever you have a big goal that you've been striving for a long time, and maybe you've just hit these roadblocks. Go through all these steps that I'm telling you to do. Go through all these steps. I'm really all about helping the self-helpers, right? But that's not to say don't look outside and seek support from other people that have maybe achieved the same kind of goal that you are striving to achieve. You could seek support. It could be from a friend, it could be from a mentor, and it could be from professionals and people who are there, coaches such as myself, who can help you on this journey. And but again, the Believe Hypnosis app has many sessions on being mindful and staying present that are all there, all designed to help you through this process. And so, number 6 is to practice and stay patient. All right. Um, Patience and consistency here are essentially, they're the most difficult, but challenging ones of them all. Is being patient, waiting and waiting and waiting. And being patient isn't necessarily waiting. Being patient is more about coming from more of like a place of acceptance and accepting this is where I am now and knowing where you're going, but just being accepting and allowing of that. It's not just tolerating, it's not just putting up with the situation. Because that is just temporary. You can only like tolerate and put up with a situation for so long. So that's being patient is actually being present and, and just continuing to be consistent in your daily practice, in your daily mindful practice as you're setting goals, as you're replacing your limiting beliefs, being consistent with the new ideas and the new encouraging and empowering beliefs that you're giving to yourself. And you also want to celebrate all of the progress that you make along the way. I had a session, a podcast about that a couple of weeks ago where I finally decided to celebrate the launching of my app. It took 40 days for me to kind of get around to like saying, oh, I guess this 2-year, goal that I had been working on, I guess it really did come to fruition. The app is sitting there in the App Store. I had already at least 100 paid subscribers with a couple thousand downloads already of the app on people's phones. I mean, this was the thing that I had been wanting to do, and yet I hadn't celebrated. I hadn't really acknowledged it. Celebrating is acknowledging and having the gratitude for that this has happened. And as you work on changing and challenging and identifying and re empowering yourself with your limiting beliefs, you might have to make some adjustments along the way. And so all of that ultimately, it just kind of comes back around to continue to question, continue to remain self-aware, continue to remain vigilant. You got to be vigilant when it comes to your beliefs. And the other thing too, I'll add is once you start to plant the seeds for your new beliefs, you've got to also be vigilant with what you allow in. You've got to realize that how you got these limiting beliefs to begin with, they didn't come from you. They came from something outside of you. Somebody said something, somebody did something, and yes, maybe you made up a story about that event, or somebody else made a story up about that event and you bought into it. So from now on, you've got to work at being vigilant to not allow that to happen. And so that is ultimately the steps to identifying and changing, and reprogramming your mind so that you can accomplish the goals that you have set for yourself. And as you follow these steps and incorporate all the actions that I've given you, you will effectively reprogram these limiting beliefs, the ones that have been holding you back, to open you up to achieving your goals. So I just want to encourage you to, take a look at your limiting beliefs, take a look at, where you want to go and what you've been telling yourself about where you're at with that right now. And just challenge that. Challenge yourself to go beyond what you think is possible for you to achieve. And you will have much greater success in your life. So I just want to remind you to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast, leave a review, check out the Believe app for more resources. And so before we wrap up today's journey through understanding and overcoming these limiting beliefs, I just want to invite you to take some tangible steps to free yourself from these invisible chains. Reflect on one limiting belief that you have discovered about yourself. Maybe during this episode, you got in touch with it. Maybe you realize that you need to discover what those limiting beliefs are. You realize there's some place you want to go and you haven't quite gotten there yet. And you know that there's something holding you back. And so challenge yourself to take one small action in the coming week that goes against that belief, proving to yourself that you can overcome this. And, if you're looking for a tool to assist you on that journey, the Believe Hypnosis app is here to guide you through all of the steps that we just mentioned. They're all there in the app. And so, as we close today's episode, just remember that the only limits that truly have any power over us are the ones that we place on ourselves. Every limiting belief is like a wall that we have built brick by brick with our own doubts and our own fears. But within you, you have the strength to tear down those walls. And with persistence and power, you will overcome those limiting beliefs and you will create new empowering beliefs. Your mind is an incredible ally in your journey toward growth and fulfillment. So treat your mind with kindness, nurture your mind with positive thoughts, and guide it with clarity. And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So let that step be your decision today to challenge one limiting belief this week. You are capable of amazing things. And so embrace the power of your subconscious mind and start transforming those beliefs in yourself today. All right. And as we close today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast on your favorite platform so that you never miss out on a weekly dose of inspiration and empowerment. And if you found value in today's conversation, please just take a moment, leave us a review. Your feedback not only supports our work, but it also helps support other people in transforming their own lives and their own minds. And again, don't forget to download the Believe Hypnosis app for access to over 1,000 hypnotherapy and meditation sessions that are going to help you on your journey. And so, thank you again for joining me today. This is Victoria Gallagher, the Law of Attraction Hypnotist, signing off for today. Till next time, keep exploring the power of your mind and happy manifesting.